Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. I am so excited for this conversation for two reasons. One of our favorite people is in studio with us this morning, Lisa Wickham, and we are talking about film, the Cross Continental Forum. Rather.
The CCF.
CCF, connecting Caribbean and international producers from across the world. Good morning, Lisa.
Good
How are
morning, Natasha. Did we plan this?
I mean, I think we did. How are you doing this morning?
Really good, really good.
I mean, I can imagine. This is so exciting.
It is very exciting. And, you know, it's something that we've always wanted to do. We've done projects. When I say we, Caribbean Tales and Imagine Media, we go way back doing projects. We've done work in the Caribbean. We've done work in South Africa. Caribbean Tales, of course, has done work in Canada and across the diaspora. And so when the idea came about bringing producers together, because this is the first of its kind in the region, where we are connecting producers' experience. So you have to have, you know, maybe a credit or two and a production company, but, you know, connecting producers from the Caribbean to producers from the United Kingdom, Canada, and South Africa is like, wow. And when the BFI, the British Film Institute, and the Canada Media Fund said, yes, we will support this. And of course, Film TT is also supporting, because we would want producers from Trinidad and Tobago to benefit from this. It's working in the vineyards and seeing the fruits of our labor coming through.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, the industry is always thriving. Oh, it's already thriving. But to imagine what's going to happen after this, it just blows my mind.
Yes, absolutely. Because the thing is that our producers in the region, we have great stories, but we may not have access to resources to bring those stories to life. So the idea is, and then you have producers in the UK and in Canada and in South Africa who may have access to resources, but looking for stories that they could, you know, partner with. So the idea is to at least walk away with 2 successful co-productions. Now, we don't necessarily have any official, outside of Jamaica, the region, we don't have any official co-production treaties country to country in the region. So Trinidad and Tobago, for example, does not have a formal co-production treaty with any other country in the world. However, you can have informal. So like when I did Home Again with Tatiana Ali, and so that was an informal co-production with Canada. You know, Trinidad Remains last year, informal co-production with the United Kingdom. So we can in fact bring producers together, and they can work together to have, you know, a UK Caribbean story, a Canadian Caribbean story, and find the resources, come together to take it to the world.
And of course, build some incredible partnerships as well. Which
exactly.
I know it's something you've been working on for a while. And to see it again come to fruition, I'm so excited. I'm running away without all of the questions. So tell us a little bit about the expected outcomes. You said a co-production, hopefully.
So the idea is to bring the producers together. So the deadline, I must say, for applications is February 25th. Because for 4 weeks before the forum in Barbados, in March, producers will be meeting, about 26 producers will be doing programs online. So whether they're doing, you know, financing a co-production, the legal sides of co-productions and so on. And then when they get to Barbados, they would have the peer-to-peer meetings and the actual face-to-face sessions and so on, meeting with executives and so on, financiers and so on. And then, of course, leaving with perhaps a pitch deck and a show reel, a 30-second teaser for their production. So they need to come with something that is already in train. You know, you have to have a story at least that we can work on and help you to bring it to fruition. And then, of course, there are 4 days in Barbados in April from the 15th to the 19th, which once selected would be fully funded by the program.
Imagine that.
I know. I was doing an interview with a radio station in London, and all the women were saying, like, I can't believe it's fully funded.
All the way to Barbados.
All I'm seeing. So, you know,
It's brilliant, and it's transformational as well. And I love the fact that you mentioned a focus on like the finance and what goes on behind the scenes, because many times people don't take into consideration. You see the creative process, you see the cameras, the flashing lights, but you don't think about all that administrative work and research.
And you know, and people see the end product, but sometimes we're working on a film. So, for example, with Hero, that was 10 to 12 years of work before we saw this big thing. You know, I always think of Narnia, the film, 15 years, you know, to get that to screen. So it's that work that producers do, you know, finding the money, developing the finance plan, reaching out to investors and to sponsors in our part of the world, you know, and doing that kind of work. But also I think that let's take Trinidad and Tobago as an example. We have the infrastructure in place. We have Film TT, Leslie Film Commissioner, doing excellent work, and then we need now to have the infrastructure with regard to the finances.
Yes.
And this will help us to do some of that. We also have to have low-hanging fruit where we can demonstrate, how viable the film industry is. Film and television. It's not just film; it's also open for television producers who might have a long-running series that they want to develop. Natasha, is that falling in your lap?
I'm like, oh, really? But this is so wonderful. So February the 25th is the deadline. We have to say that it's fully funded again, because that is such a blessing for those who are in the industry as well. It is not cheap to put on films, to pay
but you have to
everybody
apply.
and everything. But you have to apply, right? And there's also, you said, so prior to going to Barbados to actually be in person with these peer-to-peer events, there are going to be online sessions
3 online sessions, yes.
All right. And who can apply? You said
well, yes, you must have at least a credit, and you need to have an operating production company. And once you send the email to ccf@creatorsofcolor.com, you'll get the full application with all the criteria that's required.
Absolutely wonderful. Lisa, tell me something. How do you see the film industry in the region and in the world over the next, let's say, year or so, post something like this?
I think what we will find is that we'll have new stories come into the fore, stories that were previously untold and didn't have the opportunity to see the light of day because, as I said, the resources were not there. And I think we'll also see more collaborations in the region coming out, which is the expectation. We'd like to see producers, and particularly producers, Black producers and producers of the global majority heritage, right? So, South-South, that South-South connection, linking with the international, the UK and the Canada persons who have similar interests in our story. So I see that we would be seeing more work in the region, I believe, happening, coming out of something like this, which we would like it to be an annual event, and with the support of the BFI and the Canada Media Fund and Film TT.
Now, let's talk a little bit about that investment with the BFI as well, because again, that's something that blew my mind when I saw it, and the fact that they're so invested. Why do you think now the BFI is saying, all right, we're coming to invest here, let's get it done?
Well, working with them, I know that they're very passionate about they said, let's get the stories out of the region. They want to get the stories out of South Africa. Let's get those stories to light. I think they just want to see diversity. Diversity is important to them, and providing the infrastructure and the support to get diverse stories out, that's what they would like to see. And we're happy that they are such a good partner with us, and it's likewise with the Canada Media Fund. I think during COVID, a lot of the online streaming platforms demonstrated the fact that it's okay to provide stories, because previously they used to tell us, make it more American, right? But now they're saying, stick with your story, tell us your story. We want to hear your natural stories, and that's why they're supporting this project.
I love it. I saw that you said it was a cornucopia of strong and diverse untold stories.
Yes, I just see it like, maybe because I was watching Hunger Games at the time, but I just, Rockers is laughing in the corner there, but I just see, we have all these beautiful stories. Like Trinidad Remains, for example, which will evolve into Scattered, right? That is Karen Martinez she's Trini, British, and then Natasha's British, I'm Trinidad and Tobago, and the story is fully Trinidad and Tobago, right? But it brings a bit of the UK, the connection to the UK back to the Caribbean. I think it's beautiful when we can bring these stories together and make it transatlantic stories that come to life.
I was just thinking the same thing, and that was actually leading into my next question for you, which is, do you see that connection and the fact that we can perhaps play off of one another? Let's say Canada, the UK, the Caribbean and South Africa, they find the way to mold together,
Absolutely.
do they?
You're saying that, and I'm thinking of E-Zone back in the day. For me, traveling with E-Zone, I used to see that, which is why this is so exciting for me. I'd see Kuku, Fungi, Pap, there's one in Nigeria, help me now, Rockers, in the corner, they're going, Fufu, right? Yes. So, we have, and that's transatlantic right there, so, and we have similarities in our dance, in our movement, in our languages, and so on. So I think it's time for us my dream has always been to connect audiences from Africa, North America, and the Caribbean. And with Frances Ann Solomon from Caribbean Tales, that's her dream as well. So I think it's just beautiful that we have the opportunity to do it with this. And it would be remiss of me not to say that also involved is the University of the West Indies, Cayville Campus, Barbados. So it's Caribbean Tales, Imagine Media, and the University of the West Indies, Cayville Campus coming together with BFI and the Canada Media Fund with support from Film TT as well. So
this is absolutely amazing, and we're seeing, I think every time you come on the show, we just see a little bit more of that investment, more of that growth. So congratulations to you and the entire team for collaborating on this. The fact that you mentioned that hopefully this is going to become something annual as well is definitely monumental for our creative industry. And we look forward to seeing what else is going to be coming out of this, because I know there's going to be a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
I'll keep you posted.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You are so welcome. It's always a pleasure being here. I love watching Raucous go through its transformation.
Oh my goodness, what a blessing. Lisa Wickham here with us this morning talking about the Cross Continental Forum. Is going to be happening in March, and if you are a producer, make sure that you go and check them out. The deadline is the 25th of February. And guess what? Coming up after this break, we are taking your calls, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a few moments.